Okay, so now that we have a little bit of an understanding of what we're going to be doing, I'm going to review the 4 things we need to have in order to be ready to do this. Now, for us here, for me and for you, this is probably very easy. But if we're going to be working with clients on this, we need to be mindful and cognizant that they might not have all of these 4 pieces ready and available. So this process is not for everyone, and it's not for everyone right now. There might be other things they need to do beforehand before you can work through something like this with them or offer this to them. So the 4 things we need, the first one is that spiritual awareness that something is negatively affecting us. Okay? Second thing we need is the awareness and ability emotionally to identify, to feel the negative side, the negativity, and then that equal opposite, that parallel equal opposite positive side of the emotion. Okay? The third thing we need is the mental awareness to recognize, to understand the pattern that we've been perceiving, and to be able to have some empowerment and be willing to use the way out, as Caryoln Mein describes it. The fourth thing we need is the physical clearing, so the physical touch, to clear the cellular memory that is trapped in our tissues of our body. So those are the 4 things we need to be able, willing, and wanting to do for this to be effective. Okay, so now, assuming we have these 4 things ready, what are the processes? What are the steps? So I'm going to talk to you about the steps here, and then in the next section, after you choose the emotion you're going to be working with, I'm going to go through clearing it as though you were a client working with me directly. Okay, so this isn't going to be the only talk you're going to have about these steps, just so that you're aware of that. So the first thing we're going to do, right, is that just identifying the emotion we're going to work with. Okay, and you can do it based on cognitively thinking about things that are showing up, or by feeling where these points are in your body and saying, ooh, that feels a little, oh, that's kind of sore, that's kind of tender, you know, that doesn't feel quite right, that feels different. So either way you want to identify the emotion is perfectly fine. Okay, once we have the emotion identified, we're going to name it. Okay, and naming the emotion is very powerful, because once we've named it, we have some control over it. It's no longer secret, it's no longer private, it's no longer hidden. It is now part of our public life. We've spoken energy towards it, and we're already starting to let that energy move. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our lemon oil, and I just don't like to smell it from the bottle because I always just want to cap it. So I'm capping and uncapping. So I'm using just a little passive felt sphere to hold. You might have a diffuser jewelry, or you might be comfortable holding the bottle open. However you want to do it is perfectly fine. But you're going to go ahead and take in 3 to 5 nice cleansing breaths of this beautiful aroma. You're going to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth with an audible sigh. And keep going until you've created this sense of peace and safety, and you feel this flow of the energy shifting in your body. You've named the emotion. That kind of creates a little bit of a different dynamic in the body, and now this inhalation of the lemon is already going to start to soften and to bring some balance. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and identify this point. Okay, and it's a release sorry, I have so much hair. It's going to be the base of the skull. You feel this hard spot on the skull. And then right under there is where our spine meets the skull. So that's where you're going to hold your finger. Okay, with one hand, your dominant hand, I'd like to be the one pressing. The non-dominant hand's going to hold, and you're going to take 3 to 5 breaths again here, and you're going to put some pressure, and you're going to pulsate the pressure. So push off, push, release, push off, push, release. And you're going to take 3 to 5 breaths here. Again, just nice breaths in and let it out. Nice breaths in and let it out. Okay, however long you need to here, and you'll feel when you're ready to move forward. Don't cheat yourself and jump in, oh, I did 3 breaths, I'm done. Really in tune to what your body needs. Okay, so that's an emotional release point. Touching and pressing there triggers our body to know we're ready to let something go. So it's important that anytime you're channeling and clearing, that you do spend some time on that release point to just let the body know we're releasing things, we're letting some things go that we no longer need. Okay? Now we've identified the emotion, and so we're gonna now call to mind a memory connected to when we felt this emotion. Okay? Some people's memories are the most recent memories. Some people's memories are the strongest memories. Some people's memories are the most repetitive memories. Okay, there's no right or wrong answer here. There's only your answer. Okay, so for this part, sometimes I want this aroma right here so I can smell it. And sometimes the memory comes and I just want to relax into it. Okay, and when you're here, like I'm already starting to tear, emotions will come up, and that's a beautiful thing. We want the emotion to flow. So there's no judgment, there's no criticism here. Allow yourself to experience what it is you're experiencing. Okay? Once we've let this emotion take its course, run through, and we're done with the memory has finished, we're going to take another 3 to 5 breaths of this beautiful oil. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pulsate pressure about 1 inch above the center of our eyebrow. Both sides. If you can, I use my thumb and my index finger. So while you're breathing in this beautiful oil, you're just going to take these 3 to 5 breaths while you're pulsating here. And this is the emotion point. Okay? So this point here helps us to better target the point we're going to press next. So it helps it to be more specific, and it helps us to tune into it more. Okay, it doesn't make the sensations we feel stronger, it just helps the energy tune more effectively. Okay, then after that, you're going to take 3 to 5 breaths smelling the essential oil while you're pressing on the alarm point, the corresponding alarm point. And again, in the other videos you'll watch about the specific emotion you're going to be channeling and clearing, I'll show you where those alarm points are, and there'll be diagrams, pictures in those sections that correspond with it as well. Okay? So after you've done that and you've cleared the cellular memory of the alarm point, the next step is to look at that equal and opposite parallel positive emotion. Okay, so you're going to name it. And then you're going to take some time to call to mind a memory where you embodied it. Okay? And sometimes this can be challenging. I don't know if it will be challenging for you, but I have seen it be challenging. And I have told clients to call to mind a memory where they've seen other people embody this positive emotion. Because we can vicariously experience it that way. And if that's difficult, then I ask them to call to mind a memory from a movie or a television show or even a book that they've read where the characters have embodied this emotion. Because again, vicariously, even though a little bit removed, we can still experience this positive side that way. Okay, and just like the negative emotion, we're going to let that memory play through. And we're going to let it bring up whatever it stirs up. And we want that stirring to take place. Because this is where we're making that shift from negative to positive, and where we're going to be able to broaden our perspective and be empowered to take the way out. Okay? So once it's played through, we're going to mentally clear the emotion by speaking the way out, the affirmations that provide us the shift, okay, from the negative to the positive. And I recommend we say it at least 3 times. And each time we say it in a way where we hold it and we feel stronger and we feel more on a firm foundation with it, right? Bolder, firmer with that affirmation, okay? And it might take a while to build there, so it's okay if you say it to begin with and it's kind of like, I'm a little uncertain, and then the next time I'm a little less uncertain, and the next time, yeah, this feels okay. And then slowly over time, it'll build up to be able, I own this affirmation statement. This is totally me. It resonates head to toe, right? So that's what we're accomplishing is the little shifts, little bit over time until you look back and you're like, I can't believe I ever felt any different. Okay? So at this time, okay, this is now step number 7. Caryoln Mein recommends that we actually physically take a drop of the essential oil in our non-dominant hand, okay, and we're going to rotate that hand clockwise, okay, and then we're going to put the essential oil on our alarm point on the body with our dominant hand, okay, and pulsating for 3 to 5 slow breaths. Okay, and then to close out the practice, we're going to take some of the oil in our middle finger, and then again on the back of the head, we're going to touch points slightly above. We were here, so slightly above, and we're going to push and pulsate on these 2 points here. And what those 2 points do is it blocks us from coming back to this negative pattern. So it helps to establish and ground us in this new pattern we're creating within all of our memory, our cellular memory, our emotional memory, our spiritual memory, and our cognitive memory. And it stops the energy from wanting to revert back to that old pattern. Okay, so if you're dealing with something that's more chronic and it's not acute, and you don't want to directly put the essential oil on your body, then what I recommend you do is you make a 3% dilution with your carrier oil in a roller bottle, and then you roll that on your hand. You can still energize it or polarize it, I think is actually what she's doing with this motion, and you could still apply that dilution with your index finger and with your middle finger. Okay, so that would be my recommendation there. So now we're here at the last bit. So we now know what we're doing with it, but what does this look like, right? So we're gonna work on this emotion today. And are we just done, Lisa? Is that the way that it works? And the answer there, of course, is no. So the buildup of this excess energy didn't happen overnight. If it did, it was one terrifying, tragic, traumatizing night. Okay? And it built up years worth of emotional overflow. Okay? So we're not going to be doing this process for years, but what we are going to be doing is we're going to be repeating this clearing practice several times throughout the day. Okay, so Caryoln Mein recommends that it can be done as little as once a day and as much as 18 times a day. So once an hour, basically, during the waking hours. And it could be done for a week to up to 7 weeks. Okay, so it depends on how strong the emotion is, it depends on when you're feeling it, and it depends on how long you've been working with it. Okay, and also how receptive your energy is to this shift. Some people, when you introduce essential oils and you're introducing energy flow, their body's just like, whoop, they take it and they run, and it's amazing. And some people, it takes a little bit longer because they're not as attuned, their energy isn't flowing as well in other areas, and it just takes longer to get there. So there's no judgment, there's no criticism. And I always say, the longer it takes for us to get to the point of health and well-being we want to be, it just shows how much we've been carrying and how difficult it is to carry these things, how much energy we're exerting to them. So the process is edifying. This is hard. This is not easy work. Okay, if it was easy, we wouldn't need people walking with us. We wouldn't need books written about it, right? So now you have this basic concept. I'm going to ask you some few questions. You're going to identify the emotion that you can intellectually identify here. And then if you need to skip ahead to the next section and come back to look at the alarm points before you identify your emotion, you're welcome to do that. But the next section is all one-on-one videos. I'm probably going to re-record them on another day so that I have more energy to spend with you within those videos. And we're going to be working through clearing that specific emotion, walking through the process. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. I really hope you get a lot out of this practice, because I know I've seen it do so much for myself, and I've seen it do amazing things with my clients. So again, thank you for joining me for this mini class. I look forward to seeing what emotions you choose, and hopefully you're going to leave me some feedback on how this practice has been for you. Okay, we'll see you when you work on your emotion, clearing and channeling it. This is exciting.